Hi, everyone. Dr. Vicky here, speaking to you from the Seeds of Transformation Healing Center. So it's been a while since I've pulled cards on anything, and I've actually had a number of things on my mind. And I'm like, I have to pull cards, I have to pull cards. And I've just been busy with horoscopes and the astrology and renovating my house. And I was like, nope, you got to sit down and you got to do a reading. So I've already shuffled, and so let's take a look. This is going to be a reading on the Ukraine. Um, uh, I'm as I ask the question, of course, I think of Volodymyr Zelenskyy, and I he has been in on my mind, and I think he's in the middle of a war zone, but I think because there's the energy is shifting and changing, and there's more as I think as things start to like shift and turn in the direction of the Ukraine, of course, anything to cut them down, right? And he is such a symbol of the spirit, right, of the Ukraine. So it concerned me. So I wanted to take a look and see. Um, it would, look at the Ukraine, over the next, well, over the next winter, right? I mean, they're going to be going into winter. Um, so let's take a look. We start with success. So this indicates to me that this counteroffensive is successful, that it is they're being very judicious. I think it kind of started slow because I don't think all the stuff gets to them in a timely manner. You're talking about many different countries trying to like organize to help this other country. It's like not internal, right? So, I mean, it is, but you know what I mean. So I think it takes longer, and I think that the Ukrainians are very smart about how they utilize their resources because they know that they're limited. They know that, every, in a way, bullet has to count. Um, and so because of that, I think that it's a success that's didn't immediately look like a success, but it's a success that's building on itself because they're fair, they're balanced. There's a six is about community. There's this community spirit um, for them. And so it's not just about, how many guns and bullets they have, but it's people working together in community to try to, bring an end to this insanity that they're experiencing. What's crossing that? Well, we have the Ace of Cups. Um, as a Zelensky read, which is really what this reading is, my initial thought was, how's Zelensky doing and how's the war going and that. So this is Zelensky. He's successful. He's a successful man. He's fair. He's community oriented. He brings people together. Um, the challenge is the Ace of Cups. He's getting his heart broken every day. It's hard to stay compassionate in a situation where you're constantly being attacked. Um, and if finally you have an opportunity to fight back, which is, is better than not having the opportunity, I guess. But he's a pretty smart guy, so I think that and a deep guy and a deep feeling guy and somebody who thinks and feels deeply and cares about others and his country and his countrymen and democracy and the the possibility of the real rule of law, right? like you have to be fair and nice to each other, or you have to be fair to each other. You have to, you can't just bully, say, I want that because I want it, and you're gonna, it's like a whole new paradigm. It's the Aquarian paradigm. The man is an Aquarius. Powerful, powerful guy. Underneath it all, power, powerful guy. He's got a solid foundation. He's got a solid foundation. He was a businessman, he's smart, you know. He created his own entertainment thing. He knows how to build power. His this says Sun in Capricorn, but and this is a Capricorn card actually. Um the last decade of Capricorn, I believe. And his Venus is in Capricorn in the 8th house. Oh no, not his Venus. His Mercury is in Capricorn. I'm sorry, his Mercury is in Capricorn. And so his power is his mind. His power is the way he builds upon things. See what's in the past. We have the Princess of Swords. This kind of looks like the early days, right? In Kiev. This is also the assassination attempt. There was an attempt, I think, and I think they found him out. I don't know how they found out. But there was and this is also like, the people of Kiev looking up, and suddenly there's, you know, bombs flying, and they have the sword and they're gonna fight for their country. In the sky, we have strife, 5 of Wands. And of course, we would expect that. It's a war zone. There's a lot of strife. This is also a lot of ideas. A lot of ideas. It says Saturn in Leo. That's what it says on the. There's also a little bit in this card that I don't see in other cards, other fives, is that there's a constraint on the creativity here. There's a constraint on the creativity. Um, so people want to express themselves. Let's see what's in the future. We have the Moon card. So this is the immediate future, like 6 weeks. This is not a good card. This is a lot of pain, a lot of sadness, a lot of emotions, a lot of tears. So the Moon card is not, it's also lunacy. It's like craziness. It's just like, it's crazy. Now, back before the war broke out, and that was what, 2022, January, February, maybe even December of the month before, I started, every time I would pull the cards, the Moon card would come up. The Moon card would come up. And I noticed that in my neighbor's yard there was a tree that the crows would come to, and it was like a lot of crows, but it wasn't on my property, it was on my neighbor's property. And I remember thinking, wow, that's really strange, all those crows. I've never seen that before. I wonder what that means. And then it happened, I think, 3 times. And I realized that not until later on, actually, that it was an omen for the what was going to happen in the Ukraine. So that was the energy of that of that whole like beginning of that when they started bombing Kyiv. Because they had been fighting the Russians for years. Their soldiers are war, uh, I guess war worn or war made, or you know what I mean. They it wasn't like it just happened. It had been going on for a number of years. Um, but there was a different shift. There was a shift. It was just um really um it was just a crazy thing. It it kind of brought it into our consciousness in a way that even though stuff like that was happening in other parts of the world, it didn't come into our consciousness as as much, or it didn't get as much, it got press, and it was, it was just but this, so the lunacy will continue, but this is 6 weeks, so this is it's going to be very difficult for the next 6 weeks. So how it's seen, or how Zelensky is seen um by others, the chariot, he's on his soul's path. He is the leader, he is the director, he is the he's do his this is on his soul, and things are moving very quickly. Domestic situation, we have interference. This is about having to be very, very careful with your words. You have a lot of people supporting you. You have um, a lot of people maybe listening. He just has to be very, um, very careful. There are a lot of people out to get him. He needs to be careful, just in general. But as long as he follows his instincts, he should be okay with that. And this guy's got some good instincts. His hopes and fears, I would say this is most likely a hope for peace and happiness and going back to a sense of normalcy, a time to heal their wounds, the wounds of his country. Outcome, the Ace of Discs. So this isn't a year out generally. And so we see the Ace of Pentacles. I feel like a year out to now, maybe things will have changed, shifted, turned, or something in which maybe there's an investment now um, into the Ukraine. Now it could be just more money for more war. Hopefully that's not the case. Let's continue and see what else comes up here. Um, we have the Princess of Discs. So this is also that energy of beginning to rebuild. Is it the beginning to rebuild? This is the power of the feminine, the earthly, um, investment into the country. We have some abundance here, some happiness, some friendship. They get a chance to like just go out with their friends, maybe. That's also friendship. Yeah, it's friendship. It's just like I'm happy to be with you kind of energy. And then we have the Hermit. Um, there is a there um, there is a light that he shines from the wisdom he's gained. And that may be the true, in a way, gift from this in some way. I feel like what they stand for, how they got there, they're trying to get out of an oligarchy, right? And that's what America is in. We're in an oligarchy. So, or a kleptocracy, right? What is like the same thing, really. It seems like the elite have, they just take. So what are they? They're like thieves, right? It's time to give back. That's another story, perhaps. But this is a lesson. This community is what's going to save this country. That's what's made it successful up to this point. They are going to succeed. They are going to be back in peace. But right now they're in the middle of it, and it's very, very, very difficult going. And I think that one of the reasons why I was drawn to do this reading was just as a reminder that the Ukrainians, I mean, everybody who's involved in it, it's not just, when you shed the light on the Ukraine, it doesn't stop at the Russian soldiers. You're shedding the light on all of it. And so we need the light shed. And that, so we need to put him in our hearts and beam to them, beam the love, give them the attention, send them the compassion. That works, that works. Your attention, how you choose to spend your time, who you choose to listen to, is in a way a currency. And so who you pay attention to, and what if what they say matters, right? Like, you're gonna pay attention to them, and that feeds the energy and the creativity, right? So, it's like that Indian saying, there are two wolves inside. Which one wins? It's the one you feed. Underneath it all, we have the Princess of Wands. I feel like this is his wife. He doesn't do this all by himself. His wife is his friend, his creative partner. And I think she has a lot. She does a lot to keep the internal structure of the Ukraine together through networks of probably women, because most of the men are out in the field, right? Or they have to go and fight. I know women fight too, but like just as generally, I think. And then they're trying to keep everything running. So there's that. So I love this. This is one of my favorite Princess of Wands. It's a message. It's a message of hope. It's not allowing the hearth fires to die, really. Yeah. And then we have peace, truce, peace. This is what's underneath it all. And the end of an old cycle and the beginning of a new. And that new cycle will be, I see it starting by this time next year. But things are very, very difficult. And the country needs light, and absolutely Volodymyr Zelenskyy needs to be in the light and protected. He's teaching us lessons on how to be pragmatic and kind. That's what these cards say to me. So that's my reading on Volodymyr Zelenskyy. He's got a good foundation, success, but really, really difficult going. Over the next 6 weeks, but it does look like they very much they will have peace and things will turn around. I think he's going to be okay because Zelensky, I mean, because he's divinely guided and protected, and he's kind of reminding us what it means to truly be human. Well, I love Volodymyr Zelenskyy, I have to say. I loved him. I watched his show on Netflix. I loved him. I loved him. He's a great character, funny and smart, and yeah. Uh, all right. Hey, have a nice Labor Day weekend. For those of you who are so inclined to make it a holiday, I think we have to go to a barbecue one of these weekend days at weekend days this weekend. Weekend days. Yeah, I guess that's it. I'm going to be starting a beginner's astrology class. It's going to start on the week after the new moon. The new moon is on a Friday, I think. I think it's the 15th. And oh, hold on one second, yes. Oh, of course the calendar's really underneath. September. Yeah, so the new moon is on the 14th. It's in Virgo. And then the next week starts with the 18th. That's a Monday. So that's going to be the week that I start my classes. If you're interested in taking beginner's astrology with me, 6-week class, and we do it every the same day and the same time for 6 consecutive weeks. So it's a lot of fun. It's a good class. I really enjoy it. It's one of my favorite ones to teach. And then I'm also doing some more Kabbalah work, working with the Kabbalah. For those of you who've taken my introduction to Kabbalah. And also, if I have enough people interested, I'll do an introduction to Kabbalah, but that may not start until October, maybe the first week of October. So, all right, guys, thanks for listening. After all that, email me if you're interested in any of that stuff, but I'm going to put the times out and the days out probably tomorrow. All right, guys, take care. Namaste.